Hi guys, how you doing? This is Yadrissa and welcome to my page, and if you're new here, welcome back to my page. So today I will be showing you how I make my lace closure wigs. So just basically, a tutorial. So the items that I'll be using today is T-pins, a wig canvas head block, black thread, blonde thread, scissors, a wig cap, and of course your hair. The hair that I'll be using today is from a company called Yolissa hair, and I have 3 bundles of this hair, which is 216 and 114, and I have a 14-inch closure that I'll be using also. So as you can see, I have my wig cap pinned down to the wig canvas block, and I pinned it down with the T-pins. And then I'm starting off in the back of the head. I did not start at the very bottom of this wig cap. I stopped at the line. If you are familiar with any wig caps, you know that they have a line going around the wig cap where the elastic is. I started right at where the top of the elastic starts. So that's why I started sewing. I didn't sew at the very bottom of the wig cap. The reason why I started sewing at this part of the wig is because I didn't want to start at the very bottom. It's because if you are familiar with wearing wigs or familiar with wearing any type of weaves, you notice that when you put your hair at the bottom of the cap, or if you start at the very nape of your neck with sewing the hair down or gluing the hair down, you notice that after a while, as you move your head and just going throughout the day, or is rubbing against your clothes or your jacket or anything, the hair tends to get tangled up really fast in that area, and I wanted to avoid this as much as possible. This is not stopping the it from matting up a little bit completely. Well, not matting, just getting tangled. It's not stopping it from getting tangled completely, but it does minimize the tangling in the back of the neck. So that's why I started here at this point with sewing my first track down. So as you can see, I am going from basically ear to ear. That's why I measured and I placed my T-pins from ear to ear, and I do cut my wefts for each time that I do another row. So I sew it down, I cut my wefts, and I cut the thread, and I tie it at the end of each row basically. So the way that I sew, I like to take my time. It takes me about just a couple of hours to do this wig actually, because I take my time, like I said before, and I sew very closely. Some people sew far apart, maybe a finger width apart or even more sometimes, but I don't want to do it that way because I feel that when you sew closer, it's less bulky, and I want my wig to lay as flat as possible at where the wefts are, and I want my wig to last a long time with it being sewn down to this cap. So that's why I sew very closely, and that's why it takes me a couple of hours to make one wig at a time. It's because I want it to be as flat as possible and look as natural as possible. So as you can see, it's just the repetitive video. I'm just doing the same thing, going from ear to ear, and I'm just going from one side to the next. And like I said, you cut the weft at the end, and you cut the string, and you tie it, and you repeat till you get to the top of the head. So from time to time in this video, I will chime in from time to time because I don't want to keep on saying the same thing. And as you can see in certain parts of this video, I did go ahead and speed up the video because I didn't want it to be too long basically, but I did skip some starts. So you may see me start in the back and then I end up in the middle of the head, or then I'm at the top where the closure is on the side sewing in. So that's why it's just sped up in certain parts, and so it won't be so long. So as you can see, this is the part where I start to sew down my closure. I pinned it down and then I begin to sew. And for this part of the wig, I am using the blonde thread because I wanted the blonde thread to make this look realistic, more realistic, when I do cut the piece off the bottom of the wig cap. And I wanted it to just blend basically. I wanted it to blend. I didn't want the black thread to be sticking out and be so noticeable if the wind blew, or if I'm wearing my hair combed a certain way. I didn't want it to show. So that's why at the top, here on the closure, I just used the blonde thread. When I got to the sides of the closure, I did use the blonde thread in some areas, but towards the back of the with, as you saw in the last clip, that I did use the black thread in the back. This is just me speeding up the clip. So at this point I have sewed down the right side of the closure and the left side of the closure, and now I'm just taking my time and I'm just sewing the back part of the closure last. Now I begin to sew my tracks from side to side, and with this part I didn't do it straight across. I made a horseshoe shape, and that is how I begin to sew my hair around. At this part I did sew my wefts closer together, but towards the back of the closure towards the back of the wig I did leave about a finger width apart for the first couple of tracks, because I didn't want that to be too full in the back, but I did want that fullness at the top so it can be more full. I didn't want it to be too thin at the top, and I wanted to have a lot of hair. So this is the finished product. I'm just showing you how close I sewn and how neat it is and how close it is. So if you liked the video, please like and subscribe. Bye.